All right, guys, welcome to Florida State Crit Championships. And this was one of the hardest races that I've done. This is the category 3s. And I'll put some numbers on the screen so you guys can have an idea of how hard this damn race was. And what you're seeing on the screen is normalized, and you'll get to see why here in a second. Look at the temperature on the right-hand side. Now, that might be a little bit exaggerated at that point because we were standing, so the computer probably picks the temperature off the ground. So it's not quite 106 degrees, but it was definitely like 90s. I would say like mid to low 90s. It was really hot. We did 14 laps of this course, and as I was saying before, a lot of guys complain that this is not a real crit course because crits should be, they don't have to be 4 corners, but they should be mostly just, you know, flat courses. And this is nothing like that, and you'll get to see that in a second. That's why the race was so hard. So we'll take a look at the first few laps, about the, I think like the first 3 laps, because that's where everything mostly happened. There was like 30 riders in this field. Now here we're going, this is a pretty quick downhill, but in this race we had a headwind or a crosswind kind of going down, so it wasn't as quick. But that was that corner right there is always pretty sketchy. There's always I think they cleaned it a little bit, to be honest, from what I noticed, but there's always like dirt and stuff on the inside of the corner, and it is a pretty quick corner, but it is pretty tight. So here, this is kind of the only flat spot on the course, and I believe at this point we had a little bit of a tailwind, so you can see we're going like 29 miles an hour. And going into this race, I knew this race was going to blow apart, especially having 30 riders. I needed to be towards the front of the race because we're about to hit pretty monster. I wouldn't call it a climb, I would just call it a kicker, a hill. So I started to move on the right here. I made a bunch of positions, not spending that much energy. And then this rider here on the blue kind of closed with my line a little bit because the guy next to him swerves, and I tell him I'm on your right. Then I go through again, and this is where I made the first mistake, guys. And we're only 2 minutes into the race. So this is Eric right here in front of me, and there's something about just finding your teammates on the pack and getting behind them that gives you like this sense of you know, just like ease of mind. And sometimes we get too complacent, and I believe that was my first mistake. And this is the hill right here. It is like a 35-40 minute, depending how fast you're going up a bit. But guys, look at this. I'm doing 500 plus watts, and people are just flying by. This is how hard. We're in lap 1, guys. We're what, like 2 minutes into this race, and then I noticed Eric was struggling a little bit, so I kind of had to go by him here. And but look how far I am already, and there's still probably like another 10-15 riders behind me, and you'll see this race blew up immediately. And so I knew I had to move up for towards the second lap. I had to be towards the front, but it was just so hard to move up. And now you can see the temperature on the right. That seems to be a little bit more accurate now, about 97 degrees. It was extremely hot. This is a really quick downhill. I make a couple corners here, and this was another mistake I made here. I had to take this shallow line because I was on the inside, so I slowed down to 27 miles an hour. And then to get back up to speed, look at that, 900 watts. That was just terrible. And we're only, you know, 3.5 minutes into this race. So look at this effort that I have to put. This is now going to start finish, so this will complete lap 1, and this has not slowed down, guys. And this is just how the race played out. It was incredibly hard, one of the hardest races I've done. So right here, start finish, this is where we started from. I'm still doing 400 plus watts chasing to get back into the group. And then right here, normally you can get a little bit of rest again, but we had a headwind or a crosswind right here. You can see how strong out the peloton is, and I know I'm way too far back. I need to get towards the front, because once we hit that hill again, the race will once again blow up. But it was just so hard to move. Like, I'm still doing 300 watts, and I'm at the back of the pack trying to move forward, so I'm spending way too much energy. And then now we're going into the other downhill here, and it's just so hard to move up, guys, because that corner down there is so tight. It's kind of hard. You see, I think I make a couple positions here when, you know, people are not pedaling. We're going 31 miles an hour, so I do make a few positions here, but the corner is just so tight. Look at my line. I'm like, and you'll see how crucial that was in a little bit here. I don't want to spoil it, but that corner was really crucial later on as well. And then you can see back on the gas, sprinting out of that corner because I took it so slower, back up at 29 miles an hour. Group is starting to split up. You can see there's some guys off the road. That actually was not the break. We do end up catching back up. And I just want to play this couple first few laps here. And here in front of me is teammate David. I find them, and once again, guys, like I was saying earlier, there's just something about finding your teammate on the race that you just get complacent, and it gives you, like I said, not just complacent, but you just being behind your teammate, being behind the wheel that you know, you're like, all right, I'm in a good spot. And here I noticed that he was kind of struggling a little bit to close the gap, and then I was like, all right, I think I gotta go through the right. And then he sees me here coming through the right. He looks back, and then he steps on the gas again and closes the gap a little bit. So like I said, this was also another big mistake. Not only positioning, look how strong out this is, guys. And then the group accelerates, and when the front of the group accelerates going up the hill, they're already up the hill. I'm still turning the corner, so by the time that acceleration gets to me, I have to do a gazillion watts just to catch back up. And I noticed that David here was kind of starting to struggle a little bit. There's guys coming up, their guy attacks on the left, and like I said, I got a little bit too complacent. I definitely needed to stay towards the front. But guys, my heart rate has not dropped from 175 this entire time. I think the whole first lap I was over 180, which is pretty high for me. So you can see we're still doing 300-400 watts sustained to get up this climb, and I'm still pretty damn far back. And I think positioning in a course like this is so important. And I honestly don't have an excuse because I raced here before. This is my third time racing this course. Now, this is my first time racing it in the Cat 3s, and this pace was insane, guys. Most of these guys here, the way it works in Miami, the 1-2-3s always race together. So all these guys are used to racing with the 1-2s. So they are really, really strong. Like all 30 riders in here, I think we're super strong. I think some of the guys that were on the back of the pack is not because they weren't strong enough. I think it was mostly positioning, just like it was for me. And then right here, this rider, the one in front of him, drops the wheel once again. So I'm still chasing. I still have not even been able to get towards the front. So he lets go of the wheel. This guy puts a massive attack. You can see on his wheel, I'm doing 600+ watts. He's sprinting out of the saddle, trying to get back on. And this lap was brutal, guys. So we're about, so now 3 laps in, and this was, like I said, this was brutal, guys. I'm still chasing back, and it's all because of positioning. That is such a huge mistake that I made, and I should have known better. Like I said, I raced this course before, and I won at this course before. I did my first ever category 4 race here, and I won it solo. Obviously the pace was just a big step up from the category 4s into this, and this also being a state championship race. I mean, you have the best riders from all over Florida, not just Miami, coming down, but the level was extremely high. And once again, we're going down this hill, and I know I have to move up, but it's just so hard. The course is pretty technical, and it makes it really difficult to move up and get towards the front. So you can see the group is once again back together, but it is about to blow to smithereens in this climb. And I think what got me, like I said, the biggest mistake for me in this race was positioning. I knew better, but obviously it's easy to say here sitting now looking at the footage rather than when I was there. Look, like we're going 32 miles an hour in the flat spot, which is the only place where you can kind of recover a little bit. And you can see I finally now get back into the group, and I know I have to move up, but I'm kind of boxed in right here. I have nowhere to go because there's these cones here on the left, and this guy kind of swerves into me. I once again have to hit the brakes and spike up the power again to get back into the group. And at this point, I know I'm way too far back, and I knew I was going to end up paying for it. So you can see there's a couple guys kind of self-pedaling, and at this point, rather than moving up, I'm thinking, okay, I gotta try and recover just a little bit. Although I'm still moving up, I gotta try and recover a little bit because this race is about to blow up. And there's guys already. You can see there's like one guy up the road up there, and then this is where the attack goes right here. And looking back at the footage, I honestly was not in a bad position. I'm pretty sure sitting here now I could say, oh, I had the legs, I was feeling strong, but I was probably suffering. You can see this guy just jumps, he goes with the acceleration. I'm doing 500+ watts, guys, 400 sustain, and look at those guys just flying up the road. This guy jumps. I think like couple guys jump. Some of them never made it across we end up catching them again. But I'm still doing over 400 watts, guys. I think this guy, I think he does, I don't remember if he makes it across or not. This guy does makes it across. So you can see a lot of guys accelerating. But I think the biggest thing was a lot before I spent so much time just trying to chase the group and spending so much energy, rather than being towards the front in a good position where you're going with the pace of the group, you're taking the corners, you're not getting those acceleration coming out of corners, especially going up the hills. Once the guy in the front that are a couple hundred meters away from you, they're accelerating, by the time that acceleration gets to you, you're barely coming out of the corner. So you have to do way more watts than they're doing. Like, look at this right here, I'm doing 500 plus watts. This guy goes and he tries to make it across, and yeah, it wasn't a good day for this guy right here, unfortunately, which you're about to see here in a second. He tries to make it across, and I mean, he just went nowhere, and I'm still doing 400 watts. So I you know, I try to keep I'm only going 17 miles an hour, but I don't want to sit on his wheel, so I keep going. This guy jumps across, he never makes it across. We end up catching him again, and like the group looks like they're not that far away, but because of the steep like kickers and stuff, I mean, it looks like they're right there. You're starting that climb where they're like halfway or finishing it, but that's like a 30-second gap already because of the climb. You can see this guy comes through, he like barely does anything. And this was how the race played out for me, unfortunately. After, I was still feeling good. I think the legs felt better than I thought they would feel coming off of recovery week. This was not a target race for me this year, but I have done races off of recovery weeks, and honestly the legs feel terrible. So legs weren't terrible, they weren't the best for sure, but they weren't terrible either. And you'll see here, this is just pretty much how the race played out from here on. I'm putting so much energy trying to chase back. You can see the group still down there, they're not that far off, maybe 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. This guy makes his move here, which is, yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, I was already going like 22, 23 miles an hour into a corner, which is pretty tight. And there's also like always like dirt on the inside, and he ends up, I think he came in a little bit too hot. He kind of grabbed a little bit of brakes over the yellow lines, and I think that's why he ends up crashing there. So that was race over for him, and that was very unfortunate because he's a really strong rider. I have raced with him before. I was in the on a breakaway with him not that long ago at I think it was Chain of Lakes, where I ended up finishing first. I out sprinted him and he finished second. So that was very unfortunate because he would have helped me a lot. Now I've been doing a lot of work. This guy comes through and yeah, he does like a 5-10 second pull right here, and then he elbows me through again. Like, I was like, oh boy, I'm in for a long day, and we're only like 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes into race. And unfortunately, that's just how the race played out. I put in a lot of work, and I wasn't getting that much help from the other riders. I tried to pace the group up pretty much every time of this climb. I just wasn't getting that much help from the other riders. And as I was saying before, you can see the group up there, like they're not that far. So at this point, I'm still motivated. I still want to get back, but I mean, this is like a 35-40 second climb, so that's how big the gap is. They just look like they're right there, but they're not. But you can see I'm over 400 watts still pacing the group of the climb, and unfortunately that's just how the race played out. Big mistakes for me, very disappointing result. This is by far the worst result I had this season, but like I said, we're only 4 months into it, so no big deal. Still a lot more racing to go. I wish I would have done a little bit better. Now I didn't really train for this race. I feel that you need a lot of VO2 anaerobic work, specifically, not only for crit racing, but for this race specifically, because as you can see, you don't get recovery. You get like 5-10 seconds and then you got to go hard again. Like, the only recovery you get is kind of going down this hill here, and I mean, I'm still pedaling down it, but I think, yeah, it was just a hard race, and unfortunately that's just how it played out for me. I put in really nice digs to try and close the gap, but I was just not getting that much help. But as a guys, positioning is such key, because you'll save a lot more energy, and you think that the riders that are up the front, they're way stronger than you, but that's just not the case. It's just positioning is so important. You can see I'm still pacing up this climbs and just not really getting that much help. Still over 400 watts. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and just remember to work on those skills. I definitely need to get out to more crit races, I believe, and especially to this course, because I would now racing in the 1, 2, 3s or the 3s. It is positioning and race tactics are so important, and this one definitely put me in the back foot. I didn't expect this race to blow up as quick as it did, and I think that's why I got caught up in the back foot, chasing all the time and just not being able to get back in the group. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. I'm heading out to California tomorrow, so I'm trying to get this video out before so. And my plan is to, I never done this, so I mean, I'm going to put it out there, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm going to try my best to. I'm going to be doing a couple races. I'm going to be there for 5 days doing some awesome rides, but I'm going to try and daily vlog for you guys, because I will be there by myself. I will be there at the hotel. I'll try to get as much footage as we can, and once I get back to the hotel at night, try to kind of work on it and upload it for you guys as a daily vlog. But guys, as I said, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.